Hey, it's Sri here, and in today's video I'm going to talk you through 3 really important steps that you need to apply right now if you've been on the receiving end of infidelity. Now, before we dive in, I know infidelity and going through infidelity is some of the most extreme pain that you're going to be feeling, and my heart goes out to you because every single day I know you wake up and you're probably feeling that crushing pain on the inside, and not to mention the uncertainty and the feelings of rejection and so on. So I know where you're at, and I want you to know that you're not alone, because there are so many women who I've worked with over the years who have been through equally difficult and painful circumstances, but have been able to come out the other side in terms of their own healing and also their marriage as well. So make sure you watch this entire video, because it's going to play a really important part in terms of your ability to move forward and to really heal from the pain that you're going through right now. And make sure you hit that subscribe button below and click on that bell notification as well, so every week you get access to my latest videos where I talk you through more information about understanding male psychology in marriages, learning how to heal from within, and being able to navigate your way through a really, really difficult marriage and really turn it around and create something extraordinary. Now, I know when you're going through infidelity, there's a good chance that you're probably wanting to save the marriage, which is absolutely great. And I know that some people are very, very adamant that if their husband has cheated on them, that's it, they're done. And then there's other people who are very much about wanting to save the family and try and work out ways to improve things. And one thing I am a big believer in is that no matter how thin you slice it, there's always going to be 2 sides to any story and to any experience. And that's in no way to put blame on you, but it's always about understanding both perspectives. But I think to move forward, one of the ways that I believe is really important is that we've got to recognize and understand what the pain is all about that we're dealing with. What are the core fundamental wounds, and being able to heal those. And I'm a really big believer in that, because it's not until we heal ourselves can we actually heal our marriage. A lot of people are so focused on trying to get the other person to heal, but we don't have control over that person. We only have control over our world. And so we need to make sure that we're doing the necessary healing. So firstly, what we want to be doing is becoming aware of what are some of those wounds. Are they wounds of rejection, abandonment, inadequacy, and so on? And then take the necessary steps that we have to in order to be able to heal those wounds. But one of the things that I observe a lot in my work is I see certain types of behaviors that I feel sabotage or hinder people's ability to make progress and to really heal. So what I wanted to do in this video is talk you through 3 of those behaviors. And if you feel like you're engaging in some of those, that's okay. It's about becoming aware of those and then being able to make some shifts around that. Now, the first behavior that you really want to employ in your life at the moment is to stay humble and ensure that you recognize that you don't know everything. Now, sometimes what can happen is I speak to individuals, and no matter what piece of advice I give them or no matter what I say, there's always this mindset of, oh yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, no, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do this and I don't do that. Now, I understand where it often comes from. You see, people don't really like being told what to do, or they don't like to look inwardly and see that there may be areas that they can improve in. Because as human beings, we all have a deep-rooted fear that we're not good enough. And so often what happens is we are at a subconscious level always trying to find ways to ensure that we are enough. So immediately if someone challenges us with certain behaviors, or if they challenge us on our way of operating, then that creates defensiveness. And if we're defensive about our situation and defensive about how we've approached things in the past, what it actually does is it limits our ability to grow. See, one of the things that I've always found is that those people who grow the most and are able to heal in the quickest possible way take a very humble approach. It doesn't mean that whatever I say or anyone else says is gospel, but what they do is that they take this approach and they say, you know what, I'm going to take this in, I'm going to acknowledge it, I'm going to apply it, or I'm going to take the time to really understand it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter it from my own self. I'm going to filter it in terms of my own mindset, in terms of my values, my beliefs. Does this piece of advice apply to my situation? Is it something that will absolutely help me? And when individuals do that, when they take that approach and remember that they never know everything, I find that that's what actually allows them to grow in a much quicker way. Whereas some individuals are very, very fixated in their own mindset and think that they have the answer to everything. And just to be clear, I'm not being critical towards them in any way. This is all coming from a place of helping individuals to grow and become the best that they can. And I know in my own life, when it comes to coaches that I've had or healers, I get challenged a lot. But one of the things that's really important for me is to remember that no matter who it is that's giving a piece of advice, I can potentially learn from that person. It doesn't matter if it's a family member, it doesn't matter if it's a friend, coach, healer, someone online, someone that triggers me. There's always something that can absolutely be learnt. And so always remember to stay as humble as you possibly can, and remember that you don't always have the answers. None of us have all the answers. So do your best to stay in the moment, to take in information in as much of a non-judgmental way as possible, soak it in, sit with it, and then determine if this feels right. And even what I'm saying right now, take it on board. If you don't feel it's true for you, if you don't feel it's applicable, that's fine, you can scrap it. But if you actually feel that there is some opportunity here for you to grow, then soak it in and really apply it on a day-to-day basis. Really take in the advice that you're getting from people. It doesn't mean you have to act on it, but recognize that everyone's coming in a lot of the time with good intent, and they're wanting to help and they're wanting to serve. So keep that open mind, keep that open heart, and you might just find that your transformation starts to speed up. Now, the second behavior that you want to make sure that you apply here is to ensure that you don't get to a place of avoidance of doing the work. Let me explain this for a second. Often what happens is not everyone has the desire to want to grow themselves. Most people will tell you that they want to, but the actual work that's required and the effort that they're willing to put in, there is a mismatch or a misalignment there. They almost want to grow because in principle it sounds nice, but the actual requirements to do it become a lot harder. And if you think about running a marathon, you think about the effort that is required there. Most people probably won't have any interest in doing it. Why? Because it's painful to train for it. It forces you to have a level of discipline that you may not have at this moment in time. It requires a lot of hard work. And so at the end of the day, it all comes down to the reasons why you're actually doing something. And if you have a strong enough reason, you'll often find a way. A lot of people, though, will let their fears consume them more. And they're more concerned about short-term pleasure than long-term pleasure. If in the moment you have to have a tough conversation with your husband, but it's bringing up a lot of fears and a lot of anxiety and so on for you, that gives you short-term, not so much pleasure, but a little bit of respite by not having that conversation. But it will probably create longer term pain because you're not able to have that conversation with him, which then ensures that the problems stack and stack and stack to the point in which you eventually have to have that conversation, but sometimes it can be a little bit too late. So the point is that we've got to make sure that we're doing the work. And even if it's not about maybe having a conversation with your husband, it might be a case of you needing to take some time to do some of the inner work in terms of understanding what are some of the fears that you're having to face, what are some of your insecurities, what are some of your deeper core wounds, what are your value systems and so on. Maybe there are some behaviors that aren't right, but you're still engaging in them, and you need to address them, but the idea of actually addressing that and changing means that it kind of goes against how you've operated all these years and effectively is challenging your identity as a person. And if that's coming up for you and that's creating a lot of anxiety, what's going to happen? You're probably going to want to run away from that and avoid doing those things. And this is kind of the reason why, people pay money for gym memberships and don't even use them, because it requires effort. It requires you to do things that you haven't been doing. And so that's why it's important to actually stop avoiding doing the work and just front up and do it. And even if it's just one micro step, that's perfect. You don't have to go from 0 to 100. It can just be 0 and then 1 and then 2. And even if you feel like you're going back to 1 again, and then you go up to 3 and then 4 and then 5 and then back to 3 and then so on. it's okay, because over the long run, it's progress. And I'm a huge believer in progress and not perfection. So really make sure that you do the things that you need to do. Really have the courage to put the work in. And sometimes you may need a coach or a therapist or someone to be able to guide you on this. And that's why it's important to do those things, to keep you accountable, to make sure that you're standing on your own 2 feet and making sure that you're actually able to move forward, because it is so important on this journey. And the third step you want to take is to stop blaming yourself and really open your heart and step into kindness. See, when there has been infidelity or there's a separation of some sort, often people will look back and do a little bit of a post-mortem and try and work out where did it go wrong, how did it get to this place, and so on. And I understand that. I understand the craving of that, because as human beings, no matter what happens, our first instinct is why? Like, how? How does this all happen? I'm confused. And there's uncertainty. And that's an important step to take in terms of acceptance. But when we are taking the time to reflect, you've got to remember to step into kindness for yourself. Don't punish yourself. Don't blame yourself. We all do the best that we possibly can. As human beings, we're fundamentally surviving. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to survive. And that can be difficult for some people. It can be easier for other people. But one thing that makes it worse is once we start punishing ourselves and blaming ourselves for the things that have happened, and why did the marriage get to this state, and he cheated on me because I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and so on. And regardless of his perspective on things, you have to make sure that you're being really, really kind and generous towards yourself. It is so, so important. You have to fill your bucket up. And the reason why is that as you fill yourself up, then what will happen is it'll allow you to make the best decisions. It'll allow you to stay as emotionally balanced as you possibly can. And fundamentally what it does is it maximizes your chances of saving your marriage. Because from a male perspective, if that person that you have grievances toward, in your mind you believed was the reason why you went off and cheated or separated or wanted a divorce or whatever, if that person continues to act in angry ways or defensive ways or whatever, for them it almost vindicates their decision. So what you want to be doing here is just creating what I call good friction, where you're essentially being your best self, you're growing, you're doing the things that are right for you, which then in turn gets him to a place where he starts to question what he's actually doing and whether he's making the right decisions or not. And this is why a lot of people that I speak to, their husbands, a month later, 6 months later, a year, 18 months later, sometimes even after a divorce, they start going, what the hell? Why did I do it? I was the biggest idiot. I'm so sorry. I want you back. So it's very, very important here to make sure that you're not stepping into that blame. You're stepping into compassion and kindness for yourself. Because as you fill yourself up with that, you're going to give off a different energy. You're going to vibrate differently. And as you vibrate differently, you're going to start to attract beautiful experiences into your life. And it's going to help you to move forward on your current situation. Now I know, in a quick video, it often can be a little bit difficult to sort of take all this in and apply it immediately. But I want you to know that I am here for you, and the lovely ladies in my community are also there for you as well. And so if you are needing some support and some guidance, you're feeling lost, you're feeling uncertain about what to do and so on, then I'd love to be of service to you through my Authentic Relationship System training program. It's an amazing program where we go deep into your own growth, male psychology, and really understanding marriages at a deeper level as well. And you get a comprehensive level of support as well, so that no matter at what stage of the journey you are or for how long it goes on for, you are always covered, you are always supported, and we're here cheering for you every step of the way. So if it does feel right for you, if you connect with my work and you get a good vibe about all of this, then what I'd encourage you to do is in the description section below, just click on that link where it says book a call with me. Just click on that link, choose a time that works for you, and then I'll contact you at that scheduled time just so I can learn a little bit more about your situation, where you are now, where you want to get to, and how we can bridge that gap in the shortest possible time. I can't wait to speak to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know what your biggest takeaway is, or if you have any questions at all, just write them below in the comment section. I'll respond to every single one of them. And if you want to learn how to deal with mixed messages from your husband, click this video above. And if you want to learn the 5 reasons why your husband wants to separate, click this video above. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you in the next video.